This episode is sponsored by Cryptid Crate. And now, if you use the promo code SECRETPOD, you won't save 10% on your first order. You will save 20% on your first order. So if you're a paranormal or cryptozoology lover, go to cryptidcrate.com and use the promo code SECRETPOD. And that'll save 20% on your first order. cryptidcrate.com.
Podcast discussing conspiracies, paranormal, and the strange.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. This is a podcast about the strange and unusual, the secret and conspiracy, the fringe and the supernatural. This is a show where we do little to no research on our topics. We are not professionals in any field except speculation. This is the Secret Transmission Podcast, and today we're going to be talking about the Men in Black. I am your host, Agent Toby.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Agent Rudy? Is that how we're doing this?
Yeah. My co-host, Agent Rudy. Who else is my co-host?
Agent Kristen.
Agent Schofield. Tyler Schofield.
Ooh. 0069.
Yep.
Oh, it's so juvenile but funny.
So, we have a fun topic that we teased in our last episode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We did tease it, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
And why am I acting like we recorded this a week and a half ago?
You're pulling back too much of the curtain.
Shh, they don't know.
Come on, wizard.
I could just be making it up. I like to do that.
So today we are going to be talking about the Men in Black.
Copyright protection. That's why you won't hear the real one.
Nailed it.
So, yes, we are going to be talking about the Men in Black, but not our favorite movie franchise.
No, not really.
Men in
I do
Black.
like Tommy Lee Jones, though. He is a hell of an actor.
I don't remember the second one, but the third one was good because it tied everything together.
Right.
So that's why I like the third one. It was an awful film, but it tied the story together, and I like for there to not be too many loose ends.
I like the second one because at the end, when he's jumping off that pile of rubbery shit and he's spending all that time trying to get off of it.
I just don't remember the second one.
He's just trying to bounce off the... You know what I'm talking about?
I just remember what the plot line for the second one is.
Right.
It's Tommy Lee Jones trying to get his memory back.
Ah, okay, that's what I remember.
The Light of Zartha.
Yes, and then the third one,
Time travel.
time travel.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my favorite scene in that movie, and it's so stupid, but it's so funny.
Did you know that there used to be an animated TV Men in Black series?
I remember watching
Oh my gosh, yeah, there wasn't there?
Mm-hmm.
It took place like between 1 and 2, right?
Yeah, and it wasn't bad for me being a child watching it at the time. But we're not talking about that franchise anymore.
But we were.
And we're not talking... Well, I guess... Okay, so do you watch Fringe?
Yeah, oh god, I love Fringe.
The Observers.
Yes.
Those guys are pretty similar.
Mm-hmm. September was his name, I think. Is the one they dealt with.
Yeah, see, it's been a long time since I watched Fringe. I
God,
never got to
such a
watch
good
like
show.
the last season or two.
Oh, you need to
it's great.
finish that show, man. They wrap it up nicely.
It was a good show.
It
It's
is,
kind of
yeah.
far out there, but then they,
I got to...
back together.
we're not going to talk Fringe. I'm sorry. That's a different podcast.
But you bring up the Observers, which are very Men in Blackish. So
Yes.
yeah.
So if you take the goofy Men in Black from the franchise and then
Right.
you take those Observers, you kind of get the Men in Black.
Yeah.
So the story usually goes when someone has had a major UFO sighting take place, you might get visited by some of these strange and unusually dressed men. And they're dressed in very nice black suits with black ties.
And usually a hat.
Yeah, sometimes they have a hat. Sometimes they have sunglasses.
And when they do show up in a vehicle, it's usually an older model 4-door sedan.
Yeah, some, and it's always black.
Right.
It has to be black, but it is some kind of old vintage car.
And the weird thing is, everyone who talks about the car makes it sound like it just got driven off the lot. It's that pristine.
Right. Some other like features of the Men in Black. Sometimes they have like olive skin color. They usually don't have any facial hair, and some reports say that they have larger than normal eyes,
Right.
or just oddly shaped eyes, is what I saw a lot of. They usually sound like they have a weird accent that can't be placed.
And they walk weird. They have
Is
they
there a
have,
weird
they have an
walk?
odd stride that almost, it's like, the way I've heard it described in a few videos is, it's like they're trying to walk human, but they're not walking human. You know what I mean?
Quick, act human.
Yeah, yeah. That's what a few of them have said is they act like they're walking human, but I don't know if that's just kind of like a little something they do, or
Oh, that's
they
another.
just really trying to walk human.
Apparently, they sound very monotone when they talk.
See, I hadn't heard that one.
Like
I haven't heard it.
coneheads.
Yeah, coneheads.
Coneheads.
Perfect. I want to.
You saw nothing.
It's funny that we. Oops, I hit the microphone. Sorry, everyone.
Uh-oh.
It's funny that we bring up coneheads because I'm jumping the shark myself.
Oh, you're jumping your own.
We're going to talk
shark.
about Dan Aykroyd later. Dan Aykroyd has a Men in Black experience.
I love Dan Aykroyd.
I do too. He's the best.
Right.
And Dan Aykroyd, if you're listening, you can sponsor our podcast.
He's
with
like
your Skull Head vodka. I love you.
He's like a paranormal god in this world.
He is.
I knew you were going to say I love you for some reason.
I have his action figure up there. I worship
yeah.
it.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of up higher than the rest. It's on that little shrine you got there.
Yeah. Anyways, got weird.
You made it weird.
Like you said, they have very nice luxury cars. Sometimes they come into your home uninvited, and they may find you just out on the street and threaten you.
Right. There's like some where they just appear out of nowhere.
Right.
Like people in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden, hey, there's this odd guy in black standing next to me. What the
Right.
hell? So
They might tell you that you didn't see a UFO or an alien being, or it was just your imagination running wild, and it was never there. Don't go spreading it to your friends or family, or we will bring harm to you. So stuff like that, just really out there things.
weren't there a couple cases where they actually confiscated videotape or cameras
Ooh,
or
I don't
something
know.
like that?
I didn't see any of those cases. I only got a handful because there's quite a bit of.
Right. Oh, there's a lot.
We're only going to
through.
scratch the surface on the cases that we're going to cover today.
We
Absolutely.
got a two-parter.
Yeah. We will be able to touch on this one again later. So the Men in Black, some think that it could be a secret government team, or that it could be alien agents working with the government, or it could just be alien agents working for
Alien agencies.
yeah. So there's
Are we already getting to the theory part of it?
no, we're just kind of
Because it's been a short, recording session. If that's the case.
yeah. Some of them will claim that they are part of the government, or have also claimed to be representatives of the Nation of the Third Eye as government officials or part of military services.
I've never heard those before. I've heard the military services one, but I hadn't heard the other ones, the Third Eye and...
Nation of the Third Eye. I know, that's something I want to look more into because I only saw that on one of the sources, but I still thought it was very interesting to write down.
Haven't we brought that up before in conversation? Is this Nation of the Third Eye? Haven't we talked about that?
I don't know.
I'm surprised reptilians hadn't been brought up.
Why couldn't the Men in Black be reptilians?
Because I didn't work with them. That's
Oh,
why.
okay.
You know, he does bring up the reptilians quite a bit on our show. You know, you got to wonder if he actually knows something.
Oh, yeah?
You know, the Navy, most reptiles are aquatic.
Hey, I might have to call my friends in black. They'll come pick you up. I want to keep it down.
Wouldn't be the first time.
So, do y'all want to hear about one of the earliest Men in Black incidents?
Sure.
One of the earlier Men in Black visits happened after the Maury Island incident in June 1947. So this one's kind of long. We're going to kind of basically cover the Maury Island incident because it's got a good little Men in Black sighting in it. Maury Island is part of Washington. Just as a note, this incident took place before the Roswell crash, too. I like to have that in mind when we talk about UFO cases because post Roswell, you know, everyone knows about it.
Right.
Pre Roswell, like aliens aren't that big of a thing, or UFOs aren't. I don't know. It's not. What am I trying to say?
You're trying to say that there's a little more credibility pre-Roswell.
There we go.
Because it wasn't very popularized until then.
Okay. Right. Harold Dahl reported that on June 21st, 1947, he was on his patrol boat with two men, his son and their dog. Around 2 in the afternoon, Harold's boat approached the east shore of Maury Island. Harold looked in the sky and saw 6 objects floating about 2,000 feet above his ship. The objects were made of some reflective metal, donut-shaped, and about 100 feet in diameter. The center holes were about 25 feet in diameter. You're going to have to draw a visual map in your head for all this.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Harold also saw round portholes, what he thought was observation windows. 5 of the craft circled over the 6th, which dropped slowly, and it stopped and hovered about 500 feet above the water. Okay? Harold was afraid that the craft was going to hit his boat, so he went to shore and started taking some pictures. The lower ship stayed in position for about 5 minutes while the others circled above. One of the ships moved down, touching the lower ships. Harold then heard a thud, and suddenly thousands of pieces of what he thought were newspaper dropped from the inside of the center ship. Some of it landed on the shore, and he got a few pieces, finding it was like a white, lightweight metal. He also saw the ship drop about 20 tons of dark metal and said it looked like lava rock and caused steam when it hit the water. Pieces hit the boat and even burned his son's arm, him, and ended up killing his dog.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
The UFOs left, and they ended up dropping the dog on over the side of the boat, giving him a burial at sea, and they went to the hospital. He told his boss, Fred Kristen, about the incident and gave him the camera. When the prints were developed, they showed the strange airships. However, the negatives had spots on them, which he compared to film damage by exposure to radiation. Fred didn't believe the story, but went to get rock samples, and when he did, a UFO came back as if it were watching him pick up the samples. Harold told investigators that the next morning, a man wearing a black suit visited him and suggested that they go to breakfast together.
Okay.
If he's buying, this is my kind of Men in Black.
Right. Get the little eye zapper thingy, lose your memory.
Well, they got some nice cars. I mean, they got to have some kind of money.
Right.
Right.
So Harold ended up driving his own car, and he followed the stranger's new black Buick to a restaurant. While they ate, the stranger asked no questions, instead gave him a detailed account of what happened to him the day before. The man in the black warned Harold that bad things would happen to him and his family if he told anything about the incident. So now we got a Man in Black. He's already threatening. So Fred and Harold sent a package to a publisher, Ray Palmer, of Fate magazine.
Fate magazine or Fake magazine?
Fate. F-A-T-E.
Okay.
I mean...
Our resources are really good. Fake.
So, can you find this guy's pictures?
I did not look, to be honest with you. I just read the story.
Curious.
The package had metal fragments and statements about the July 21st and 22nd encounters with the ships and the man in black. Ray Palmer got in touch with Kenneth Arnold. There's going to be a lot of names here, so bear with me. Ray Palmer is the head honcho at Fate magazine. He got in touch with Kenneth Arnold, who was investigating UFOs. Kenneth ended up meeting with Harold and Fred, the two guys that sent the pictures, to examine the boat and do interviews. Harold told Keith that his son had disappeared, but he was later found waiting tables in Montana with no memory of how he got there. He got the little red...
got the little memory wiper.
So on July 31st, 2 U.S. Army Air Force officials came to investigate the case. Long story short, 20 minutes after the Air Force officials got on the plane to leave, the plane crashed near Centralia, Washington. Harold and Fred claim the men took pieces of the strange metal on board. Some people believe that anti-aircraft guns shot down the plane. Newspapers and FBI got phone calls saying it was shot down to cover up what they had recovered from the site. The Air Force investigations determined that the crash had been a terrible accident. One of the engines caught fire before the officials could jump out. A wing broke and struck the tail section, which also broke off and sent the plane into a tailspin, so they weren't able to abandon or dive out or whatever. So they were trapped inside. Another Air Force investigator went and looked at Harold's boat and said that the damage they described didn't match what he saw on the boat. The investigator didn't find any metal on Maury Island, and the samples that they had looked like slag from a metal smelter. So,
I do remember hearing something about that. Yeah.
So it looked like they made it themselves.
Right.
The FBI also was doing an investigation, and the Air Force and FBI came up with the same conclusion. They both believe that they both faked the entire thing so they could gain publicity from the magazine article and stuff. The FBI offered not to prosecute the men of fraud that caused... Because basically they were the cause of the death of the two... You know, if they weren't there investigating it, they wouldn't have been on the plane that blew up, basically.
Right.
So if they dropped it, then they wouldn't be prosecuted. So they did, for a while. But they were saying that it was completely fake for a long time. But then in January 1950, the 1950 issue of Fate magazine, Fred said it did happen, after all. People believe that the U.S. government was behind a conspiracy that may have involved anything from UFOs to dumping nuclear waste. So like the byproduct of whatever the UFOs are dumping.
Right.
They believe a shadow government agency sabotaged the officer's plane in order to eliminate the investigators and blame Fred and Harold.
Because as we've talked about before in previous episodes, the U.S. government has a lovely little track record of killing off people just because. Right. To further an agenda, to shut you up. I'll probably be silenced one day. I'll stumble upon something.
We all will.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. That just means I'm right. Even if I'm dead, I'm right.
Well, see, and you know, this case is weird because you have the UFO sightings. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If his son was really burned, I'd like to see medical records of the burns.
Right.
If there was pictures, I'd like to see the pictures. You got the Men in Black coming involved. The government's being shady about stuff. The plane goes missing.
Yeah, plane goes down. Yeah.
Or not missing. Yeah, it goes down. So there's a lot of weird factors to that one.
And then if it was the FBI that investigated the metals, who's to say that they didn't swap them out?
Right.
You know.
And, you know, I know the FBI, the Men in Black didn't have a big major hand in this, but this was one of the earlier.
One of the first knowns, right?
Right. So another pretty early Men in Black sighting that I found was an interaction with Albert K. Bender. He was the editor of Space Review, which I couldn't figure out if it was a magazine or if it was a book or what it was. In the October 1953 issue, he told his readers in a announcement that he came across information that would solve the flying saucer mystery, but was told not to print it. He ended the announcement by telling others to be very cautious. He later stopped printing Space Review altogether.
Huh.
I mean, pretty shortly afterwards.
Yeah.
In an interview, Albert said 3 men wearing dark suits told him to stop publishing flying saucer material. He said he stopped because he had been scared to death of them. He then published a book called Flying Saucers and the 3 Men in Black. So, on that one, do you think that's a publicity stunt?
That's a hell of a publicity stunt if you're shutting down your entire publication to write a book.
What if your magazine was struggling?
Was it struggling?
I don't know. That's
financial records?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Was
saying.
he in debt?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's a possibility.
Maybe he was selling the company. Maybe. Well, no. I guess if they shut it down. Was
there any benefit to the Maury Island incident? Was there any benefit to that area?
They would be selling the Herald and Fred would have been selling their story originally.
True.
To the magazines, and
then they were told to shut up.
And then this guy had some. What was his name? Albert Bender.
Yeah.
He apparently had some great information that he was about to share with the world, but he got told not to.
Okay.
But then he came out like a couple of years later with a book called Flying Saucers. They told him, do not put out anything with flying saucer material.
Right.
So what's he do? He waits a couple of years after he's kind of hyped up like, ooh, these men came and talked to me.
I see media outlets do that a lot over the past few years. They hype up a story and it's just like, oh.
Yeah.
It's common. So it's very possible. It's very possible he hyped up a BS story.
Just to get for when he did put his book out.
Right.
It's like, ooh, he put it out.
He put it out.
They told him not to.
Yeah. Did he die or anything shortly after that?
I didn't look into that.
Oh. It'd have been cooler if he did.
Yeah.
I'd definitely be interested in it then.
Hey, on a quick side note, Maury Island has jams. You can buy jam. You can buy jellies from them. I was looking up pictures of the UFO, see if I could find it. Nope, you can get some jelly. So I know
Maury Island.
That's right.
If you want to sponsor the show,
11-ounce bottles of jam.
I like grape,
and they look delicious.
I like strawberry.
I like raspberry.
Hook us up. Anyways, let's take a small break.
All excellent in donuts.
Ooh, oh. I like donuts. Ooh, the donut shape.
Oh
my god, that was a big publicity stunt for their jams.
That's right.
Let's take a small break. We'll be right back.
Hey there, fellow podcast fans. Do you love comic books, and especially Swamp Thing? Get out of the bayou. So do we. Come check out the Parlapod Show, the world's only podcast dedicated to the muck-encrusted mockery of a man himself, Swamp Thing. This is some serious arcane audio. We also have a sister show, Splurch, where we dive into the world of comics and all the crazy aspects of life. Give us a listen at parlapod.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, our YouTube channel, visit our site, parlapod.com, and consider supporting our Patreon for some really cool rewards and exclusive content. Check us out on podcastradionetwork.net every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Join the conversation on Twitter by following @Parlapod. We'll see you in the swamps.
Do you like video games?
Do you like comics?
Do you like movies?
I'm Ellie.
I'm Zinger, and we're the host of
Zing This Podcast.
We discuss nerdy topics every week on our podcast. What are some of the best ways to find our podcast, Ellie?
You can search us on SoundCloud,
iTunes,
Google Play,
and Stitcher.
And don't forget, that's ZENG.
We hope to see you guys there. Every week, we have new nerdy topics.
Yay!
Okay, we're back. And we're back, but Kristen is
leaving everyone. Bye, everybody.
She's tired. Pussy.
Oh, shit.
It's laying underneath the table.
So, and then there were 3.
The Men in Black got one of them.
Yep.
Oh, spoiler.
Yeah. We joke now, but the Men in Black might come Okay, so for the next Men in Black sighting, so far they haven't been real, like, just damning evidence of Men in Black.
No, just a couple guys in suits threatening people to shut up.
That's...
I'm still focused on those preserves. Good Lord, man. Let's get some jellies later from Maury Island.
So, October 7th, 1987, in Wytheville, Virginia, radio reporter Danny Gordon reported a story about 3 local sheriff's deputies seeing a UFO nearby. The radio station was flooded with people claiming to have seen something also. 2 weeks after the report, Danny and his friends went out to the area, to their original sighting area. Now, I wasn't real clear on this in my sources. I don't know if they saw something the first night, but the second night, they were actually able to take a picture of something in the sky. Before he got home, see, and this was also didn't make sense how it was written, but before he got home or developed the picture, Danny claims he got a call from somebody who wouldn't identify themselves. He was told that the CIA and the federal government was asking about the UFOs. He kept getting unknown calls from a person saying, "It's not your place to be messing in defense matters." Danny went to a press conference on the sightings on October 23rd, 1987. That's 16 days after the original report happened that he made on air.
Right.
So I wrote that down because 16 days after the original report, he waited 2 weeks before he went out there.
Right.
So he got the pictures and 2 days later held a press conference for his findings.
Oh, okay.
I just kind of thought that was going to be something interesting. I don't know if that really plays off on anything, but 2 days later, after he took pictures, he held a press conference. Now, again, he's a radio personality.
Right.
I don't know if that's important, but it's something to note. I really don't know if that's something important.
Another publicity stunt.
I'm throwing out ideas that I was having as I was reading all this stuff.
Right.
When he returned home from the press conference, he noticed someone broke into his house. Nothing was stolen, but he was convinced that someone was looking for his pictures of the UFOs. Are you back?
Maybe. Just let me sit here. I'm just tired. I ate all that pizza.
He finally got the pictures developed, but they were bad quality, right? Danny somehow got lucky and saw the UFOs in the sky again and was able to get pictures of them again. Somehow.
Right.
For weeks after this, he was harassed over the phone from government agents. On one occasion, 2 men visited him at his home to interview him about what he had seen. They stayed for about 45 minutes. One was talking to him while the other took pictures around his house. They told him that the story would be in the local paper and they would send him a copy. So there was nothing suspicious about the men wanting to write an article. You know, lots of news outlets were, contacting him and many people for UFO sighting stories.
Right.
Hold on, I'm sorry, I lost my place. Trying to find that stupid button. So he waited a few weeks and because they promised they were going to deliver the paper. God damn it.
We're being good. You keep smacking your thing.
They promised that they would deliver him a paper when the article was finished and everything. So he waited a few weeks. Nothing ever showed up.
Right.
So Danny called the newspaper and they told him that they never ran a report or had anyone writing an article on him. A few weeks later, Danny was going through his files he had made about the UFO sightings, including the pictures he had been taking. He noticed the second set of pictures were missing. So the second picture, the better quality pictures that he just happened to
catch coincidentally on the second day.
No.
The second time.
The second time with his family. A few months later, Danny collapsed due to severe exhaustion and was cautioned that continuing his UFO research could be bad for his health. He stopped researching and hasn't had any problems since. 1,500 people reported seeing something within a 3-month time span in Wytheville. 1,500 people in 3 months.
Right.
500 sightings a month.
Yeah.
Average.
Yeah. But let's not talk about that.
what do you think of this particular case?
I don't know. It's weird. Was anybody around? Let me ask you, was anybody around to corroborate his story about these guys showing up?
That I don't know.
You know, because I can tell you stories all day.
Right.
But that's all they are, is stories.
Well, and I don't know who all he showed the pictures to.
Right.
But if he didn't show the pictures to anyone and he was holding on to them for some reason, the whole thing's bogus.
Right. Right.
Right off the bat.
One's magically bad quality, and then the second set go missing.
I feel like him and his friends went out to cash in on... Because you know what? That's honest truth right there. You ask... In a UFO case, you always have to ask, what is there to be gained from? Is it someone going to try to write a book on it? Is someone going to try to whatever?
Right.
That's the first question you have to ask: is there something that this person can gain from this story?
And he gained a little bit of popularity, but then ultimately he had to stop researching stuff.
Right.
And just pretty much exhausted himself, whether that was intentional or not.
Right. But he was getting a lot of phone calls from, supposedly,
right,
getting a lot of phone calls.
And what was it, the 80s, you said? 86, 87? Something like that?
Let me double check.
You know, really before caller ID was a thing.
87.
Right, you could jack with people still.
This is the good old Coke years.
Right.
Right?
Like cola or cocaine?
Cocaine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was good stuff.
That's why he was exhausted. But no, I feel like...
I'll just come down.
He's like... Maybe that was him just convincing himself, I'm not doing this UFO stuff anymore. I'm coming down. I realize how stupid I was. But no, I just honestly feel like you happened to get a picture on the second day for sure that you were out in that area where everyone was seeing it.
Right.
And then those pictures were terrible. So that didn't work out for you. And you just so happened to have your camera ready and see the UFO in the sky again. And
get another visit.
Right. So,
and you know me, Toby. I don't believe in coincidences.
No.
Too many coincidences in this story for it to be legit for my taste.
Right. What do you think on that one, Tyler?
I don't know.
Please keep that dead air in. Please keep that long pause. That would be amazing.
Okay, so you want another one?
Sure.
It didn't sound much like a Men in Black story. Yeah, after all the sightings and stuff, possibly, but...
Well, and that's the thing with all these...
He could have been lying about the Men in Black thing.
The Men in Black cases, sometimes they're just very mild like these.
Right.
But then we get into a couple here in a minute that they're going to get more like someone's jacking with that person, you know? I'll go into the next story. Not saying that this one's any juicier, just saying we're going to the next story. In 1960s, Jack Robinson and his wife were being followed by a man in black. Just one man, not men. Now, okay, here's another thing that I like to cross-reference, even though I get accused that all I do is use Wikipedia, motherfuckers. Which is not a bad source.
You know, on your descriptions from now on, whenever you put these videos up or this audio up, you should just put on there Wikipedia, deal with it.
I do put all the sources at the bottom now, though.
Right.
I've been doing it only for about 5 or 6 episodes.
I'm just saying, if you get tired of somebody's bullshit next time, just put Wikipedia, deal with it. That's all you need to put, and then just have your sources for you, and just say fuck them.
Well, so I looked up the name Jack Robinson. To see who Jack Robinson was, because the source that I was reading this from, the only thing that they gave was Jack Robinson was a UFO researcher. That's it.
Right.
So I tried to look it up, and when you look it up, Google Jack Robinson, it comes up as a mythical person.
Really?
First thing. Actually, it's a Wikipedia page, so...
Okay, well, there you go.
And it's more or less used as a saying, which I've never heard this saying, like in reference to something is done, like he drank that drink faster than you can say Jack Robinson, or something like I can fall down the stairs faster than you can say before you can say Jack Robinson. You know, something.
It was kind of like that times version of yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's basically just saying lickety split or
Right.
something stupid like that.
Right.
So that's what Jack Robinson is. It's just an old saying. So there might be a real person, and I just couldn't find it, and he was just a nobody. But this is, I tried to, and I didn't go real deep into trying to find out.
But again, what are the odds that that would be an actual thing? You know, a phrase from back in the day.
Right.
Is to get Jack Robinson, you know.
Right. Faster than.
Oh, it's faster than old Jack Robinson. It's like, yeah, that is kind of odd. It's kind of odd whether that's actually a made up thing, you know, to cover up a Jack Robinson.
Right. So again, I'm not saying this is not a real person. I'm just saying I did acknowledge that there is a goofy old saying about Jack Robinson. So who knows?
That is odd, though. That is rather odd.
So he was a Jersey City UFO investigator, like I said, and he believed that he was being watched by the Men in Black, by the Man in Black, I should say, because there's only one.
And we're under the assumption he's real. We're
right. Yeah, this is a real man with a real wife,
right,
with real problems and pays real bills.
Okay.
Did that get you real?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. For a fictional character.
Better have a real birth certificate.
Yeah.
Ooh, good point. It's got to be a Jersey Jack Robinson born somewhere, right?
Yeah. They would see him in the doorway. Him and his wife would see the man in black in the building, in the doorway of the building across the road from them. They would often notice things would be different from in their house than how they left them. He felt like someone was going through his research papers. Timothy Green Beckley, another UFO researcher. This guy you can find pictures of, though.
Right.
Easily. And his friend, Jim, were told about the strange man and decided to try and catch him in the act. Tim did manage to get a photo of the Man in Black.
Is this the picture of him standing by the building? Can you kind of see his front profile a little bit? Yeah, I've seen that picture. It's pretty cool.
So now, is that a hoax? No one's ever stepped forward and said, yeah, that's fake.
Do you have this picture on hand?
Just put Timothy Green Beckley.
Actually, just type in Men in Black, go to images, and it's kind of one of the first ones that pop up. Oh my God, my search history. If anybody ever gets a hold of my phone, they will give me my phone back because I've looked up some strange shit lately.
Brazilian fart porn?
You know, I told you that in confidence, okay?
When I look up Men in Black, all I get is fucking, here comes Men in Black.
Yeah. No, you're right. You do.
God damn it. That was don't just fucking image Google search Men in Black. You'll get fucking Will Smith.
Yep. And then you get some parodies of shit. Yeah, all right. You know what? I made a mistake. That's an error you're going to leave in because you like to rub it in my face. Yep. All right.
So, okay, here it is, Tyler. I found the image after all that. Timothy Green Beckley, Beckley. If you Google his image, you will find a man. It's kind of a black and white photo, and you will see a man. He kind of looks like he's sitting back a little bit in the doorway or something, and he is wearing a black fedora type hat.
It's a popular look.
Yeah,
it's the fedora style hat.
He's got a black suit on, and his face isn't real clear or anything. It's not the best of quality.
It's taken at a long range too, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But that picture's out there for evidence of.
It's supposedly one of the few, like, legitimate photos of an actual Men in Black.
Right. Let's take a small break, and we will talk about the two men in black that were caught in the hotel.
This is probably my favorite story.
Yeah, this one's cool.
Yeah, the Niagara Falls incident.
Yes.
Yeah, this is, yeah.
So we will be right back.
All right.
Hey guys, it's Toby. Just wanted to pop in here real quick and let you know that if you wanted to help support the show, you can go to tpublic.com/secrettransmission and order one of our shirts. We get a little kickback from each item that's sold. So please go browse. There's a bunch of different t-shirts, a bunch of different styles, and a bunch of different colors. So go to tpublic.com/secrettransmission and help support the show. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Miles, better known as Mr. Most Days Off.
And I'm Richie the Whiz Kid.
And we're the host of the Best Darn Diddly Review Show, available at thefanspodcast.com.
Each and every week, we review 2 classic Simpsons episodes from way back in the 90s.
Follow us on Twitter at Best Darn Diddly, and go check out our show at thefanspodcast.com.
Wubba-lubba-dub-dub.
No man, that's the wrong show.
God damn it, Kyle.
That's both not my name and the wrong show.
Dope!
There it is. Remember, everyone, it's the Best Darn Diddly Review Show, available at thefanspodcast.com and iTunes and Stitcher.
Woohoo!
So we are back.
Are we? Really?
That's what it was. I was saying the other day. I kept saying again.
Oh, we're back again.
Yeah, and I was like, I cannot do that anymore. I caught myself. I was about to say it, and I was like, no, that's what you don't want to say. Again. You don't want to say it again. Okay, anyways. So, Niagara Falls.
Uh-huh.
Now, I don't really know the backstory to this one. I just found the video and the man talking about what these two gentlemen in black suits were wanting. So I don't know why they were trying to question him, but I do have the interview. Now, you know a little bit about it?
A little bit. What happened was, I think this happened in 2008. It was like October 2008. These two employees, it was a manager and one of the employees at the hotel, witnessed a triangular-shaped object over Niagara Falls. And so they started talking about it because, social media, whatever.
Right.
On May 15th of 2009 is when the two guys on the video show up.
So a year later? Wait, what did you say?
Like 5 months later,
Okay.
October.
Oh, okay, October. I don't know why I was thinking earlier.
To May of 2009.
So when you say social media, you mean like MySpace, right?
2009?
MySpace bitches.
Probably, yeah. That had been around, right? Well, anyway, they started talking about it, and that's when these two guys showed up, and that's what the video shows, is these two guys walking into the hotel. I'm sure he'll talk about in the interview, but from what I understand, I think the manager was working, but the employee wasn't that day, and they were demanding that he bring him up there so they could talk to him too, and they were threatening and all kinds of stuff. So
with that, let's go ahead and get into the interview. Here it is.
One of my bellmen approached me, and he kind of had a weird look on his face, and he said to me, can we go in your office and talk? I brought him into my office, and he says, something really weird happened here yesterday, and you weren't here. He said, there's a couple guys in here looking for you. And I said, a couple guys? What do you mean? And he said, well, this is really hard for me to say. He said, but there's a couple really strange-looking men that were here. And they kind of freaked everybody out, and they were asking questions about you. And, of course, now I'm getting a little bit nervous, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, well, he goes, I don't know how to describe them except for extremely odd-looking. They were really, really tall, he said, and they were identical height. They were the exact same height. They were wearing the exact same clothes, and they had the exact same faces, like they were twins. And he said they were wearing black suits, black trench coats. They were wearing like the old-fashioned fedora hats. They had extremely, extremely pale skin. And he said they came in and they looked around a little bit and they asked for you. And I said, I'm sorry, he's actually not working today. And it seemed like they didn't believe me, so they started to walk around the hotel and shortly after, they went to the tour desk, and he goes, I got busy. I started to have to bring cars around and get luggage, and by the time I came back, they were gone. But he goes, they freaked me out, and I really wanted to tell you that there were these weird guys in here looking for you. So, of course, now I'm a little bit skeptical and I'm a little bit freaked out all at the same time. So the first thing I do is I run into my security office, because I know how to work the security system, and I rewound the cameras, and sure enough, here comes two gentlemen through the front door looking exactly how he described. Then the next day, I was talking with my tour desk, and one of them asked to talk to me. She came in my office, the same as my bellman, and she said, I need to tell you about something that happened. I heard that you heard that there were some men looking for you. And I said, yes. And she said, they asked a few questions about you, and they said strange things that I didn't understand. And they were talking about governments and conspiracies, and none of it made any sense to me. But she goes, they were very, very scary. And I said, well, why were they scary? And she said, they had no facial hair, none. She said they had no eyebrows, no eyelashes, nothing. Their hair looked like they had a wig on, like it was attached to their hat, like it wasn't even real. And she said, and the scariest thing, their eyes were so big and so blue that they almost hypnotized me a little bit. And she goes, and you're going to think I'm crazy when I tell you this, but I swear they knew what I was thinking. I swear. And I don't think I'm crazy, but I don't even know how they could do it, and I don't know why I'm even telling you this. She goes, so I started to think about things other than you, and I don't even know if it worked. And she started to cry, and she said one more thing before she left. She said, these men, they didn't blink. Not once did I see them blink.
How do you feel about that?
Do I really need to repeat it?
Yep.
Pretty intense story.
I forgot to unmute our mics.
I just felt weird saying it again.
So, yeah, I mean, this guy, I mean, you can see clearly in the video. And now I say clearly, I saw comments that people were putting, and the funniest one I saw was like, you catch Men in Black on film, but you record it with a potato. Like,
yeah.
I don't know why, but I thought that was hilarious.
Because people like potatoes for some reason these days. I don't know what the deal is with the potato.
But, you know, I mean, it's security. It's not like someone whipped out their phone and started filming right in their face. It's, you know...
It's the in-house...
you see two...
closed circuit stuff.
Yeah, so you see someone... It's not something like... I'm going to just start whipping my phone out to any businessman I see and just be like, who do you work for?
Right.
But, you know, so you're not going to pay any mind to that person walking by. So, yeah, they're only going to get picked up on stuff like that.
Now, they never identified what agency they work for either.
Right. They just wanted to talk to this guy.
Right.
And they were going to get a little irritated if they didn't get to talk to him. So, but... Did he ever say, like, what happened? Like, they just turned around and left?
I think if you actually watch the video, if you find it, the actual clip of it, you see him walk in, they mill around off camera for a while, and eventually they just walk out. And it's all time-stamped, if I remember correctly.
Right.
And it's just a few minutes. It's not very long that they were in there jacking around with those employees.
Right.
But still, it's an odd little video.
So what do you think of that? I feel like on this episode, usually we give our full comments at the end, but this is her case. On I
kind of like this story. I like this one. You actually have video proof of these two weirdos,
and then you have someone that's not involved in the sighting, like saying, "Hey," and first off, you have his coworker who's
right.
not like in on. He might be in on the joke, but then you have this woman who's
like seems genuinely creeped out by these guys,
right? Like. She is talking about, like, their eyes hypnotized me, and, you know...
But that's a secondhand story, though. I'd like to hear her version of it.
Oh, was it a secondhand story?
Well, he was telling the story.
Oh, yeah, he was... Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would be much better hearing it straight from... He may have took liberties of making it sound sexier.
Right. Right. More appealing.
Right. Well, like I had hinted at earlier.
So they ever find him?
No, I don't know.
Possibly. You know, you'd figure the Men in Black would be a little more keen on where people are located.
I would like to talk to that. That hotel worker. I was going to call him a bellhop, but I don't know what his job description was.
Right. They just said hotel worker, and his manager is what.
I'd love to talk to him. So if you're listening out there, give us a call.
If you know the guy,
give us a call.
Yeah. If you know the Men in Black,
give us a call.
So dumb.
Well, now let's go to the best case.
Okay. Oh, you got a better case than that? Because
Dan Aykroyd.
Oh yes, I forgot your hero.
So if you don't know Dan Aykroyd, he's a comedian, an actor, a writer, a badass.
He studies the occult.
Yes. If you don't recognize the name, you may recognize him in such great films as Ghostbusters, Spies Like Us, Blues Brothers, Trading Places, Nothing But Trouble, Coneheads, like we said earlier. Hell, just Saturday Night Live. Go look up the good classic Saturday Night Live. And
oh yeah, the good ones with him and Bill Murray and Chevy Chase.
Yeah, that's
Mr. Bill.
That's
an era in itself. Right
that's
there.
just a team of fucking all-stars.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That to me is when it was at its best.
Right.
So.
Oh yeah, and that Crystal Head vodka. We would love to be sponsored, Mr. Akroyd. I love you. So,
when did this turn into the Stroke Aykroyd episode?
He needs it. Actually, I read something that he's worth like $137 million, so he could spare a little, if you know what I mean. Okay, anyways.
Look at you groveling to Dan Aykroyd. How dare you?
Well, have you ever seen Spies Like Us?
Oh, yeah. I love those movies.
That is one of the best.
Right.
That's my movie recommendation for the night. That's your homework. Go watch Spies Like Us and watch Chevy Chase be a goddamn genius in that movie.
That's right.
Okay, stop talking about the movies. I'm sorry.
That's another podcast.
Yeah. So Dan Aykroyd signed a deal in 2002 to develop a UFO investigative series under the name Out There. I'm going to add an echo on that.
Okay.
Make it real cool.
Right.
Out There. Every time I say it, I'm going
to pause and let it echo. Yeah.
Out There. God. So, they were signed to do 8 episodes. Hold on. Wait a minute. Time out. 8 episodes were filmed, but never aired or went to DVD. So now, I'm going to throw it to my man, Dan Aykroyd.
Oh.
We're going to listen to some audio.
This is new territory for me. I'm going to like this.
Well, what happened, we sold the show to Sci-Fi Channel, and it was called Out There, and I basically interviewed all of the people that I admired in various fields of study, like Colin Andrews from the Crop Circle movement, Linda Moulton Howe, the expert on cattle mutilations, John Mack. I talked to him. I talked to the Allagash guys who were taken in the canoe on that trip in Pennsylvania. The last show we did, I had both Bassett, who has the UFO time clock, and then Greer. Both Bassett and Greer were there. They were my 2 guests for the day. Well, the show was canceled that afternoon. And I was outside, before I knew it was canceled, in between the interviews. And I was outside, and Britney Spears called me because she wanted me to appear on Saturday Night Live with her. And so I was outside having a cigarette, the phone rang. Oh, Brittany, how you doing? Oh, sure, of course I will. I turned away like this. I turned back, and there was a black Ford across the road, a black Ford sedan. And I was trying to look at the plate, and the plate seemed kind of like fuzzy, and I was, definitely a police car. And 2 guys were there, and a big, big, tall guy got out of the back seat, and he stood in the street on 42nd Street it was. We were at 42nd Street and 8th Avenue, and he looked right at me. And literally, I was on the phone. Hey, oh, sure, of course I'd love the show. Saw the Ford, went back like this, turned back like a half second later, and it was gone. And that car did not go past me. It did not make a U-turn, because I would have seen 42nd Street. I would have seen that thing take a U-turn and go away. That car vanished. That car was a cloaked vehicle of some type, and whether this was like a warning to me, because the guy got out of the back seat, gave me a real dirty look. That car vanished. I know what I saw, and it was just this fast. It was, oh, hi, Brittany, sure, oh, of course, I'd love to. Guy gives me a dirty look. Oh, well, sure, car gone. That's what happened. And then 2 hours later, we were told we were not to continue taping, and the show was canceled, and none of them would air. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Was that an MIB experience? Black helicopters, military abductions that happen. Sometimes people are taken and they talk about then being visited by military personnel and debriefed about their abduction. Was it a technology associated with some of these beings that are visiting that wanted to warn me off, or that wanted to give me verification that I was on the right track? I don't know, but I do know I did turn back a second later, and it takes so long for an automobile accelerating from 0 to 40 miles an hour to reach the corner of 8th Avenue and 42nd Street going past me, and then pulling a U-turn and going out towards Times Square. I would have seen that car. And I looked around. I mean, I was looking for that then. It was gone. So, I don't know. The tapes exist. I have them. We're going to try to repackage them. We might put them out on DVD.
Haha, I remembered that time.
No repeatsies.
So what do you think? Is Aykroyd...
It's a cool story. I like that.
I mean, it's very brief.
Uh-huh.
But the detail that he puts into it, like, he makes very good points. Like, from where he was at, he would have seen the car pull up. He would have seen it take off. He would have seen it make a U-turn.
Right.
I don't know. I just found that kind of interesting. And 2 hours later, after he had this odd incident, the show was canceled. Never to be seen. He has the footage, he says.
What was the show about?
UFOs.
Oh, okay.
UFO investigations. Probably interviews and stuff.
What was the name of the show again?
Out There. So,
well, okay. Did he ever package it on DVD or anything like that?
Not that I found. So,
it's too bad. I'd like to find that.
He should have just put it on the internet for free. Isn't that what most celebrities do?
Yeah.
When
it gets leaked, quote air quotes.
So yeah, I'd like to see Out There.
There you go. All right.
So do you think this was Men in Black, or just an odd coincidence of a weird people? I know you and coincidences, but I don't know. Could you get married this time with a coincidence?
No.
No,
I couldn't. But it is kind of weird that, this incident happens, and then his show gets canceled, and he's doing a show on UFOs.
Especially after you're on your 8th episode.
You've already filmed your 8th episode.
Yeah.
And then you find out after the fact that it's been canceled.
Like, you got your funding, you've already been approved, like, why not go through with at least the first 8,
He did say something that triggered a memory. It was one of the shows that I watched on MIB documentaries was the license plate.
Being fuzzy and hard to read.
Well, in one of the shows that I watched, he took note of the license plate. One of the witnesses did, and looked it up, and it was like a government issue license plate to like some city job like 4,000 miles away.
Right.
Like halfway across the country.
Weird.
Yeah, and so whenever he tracked down the number of this, it's like, yeah, this is our license plate. Yeah, this is what we do. It's like, how'd you get our license plate number? And the guy goes, the guy's like, well, don't worry about it.
It's just a thing.
Yeah, just a thing. But it was like a simple little like NR17 or something like that, and it had a government issue tag on it. It was just bizarre. And he was able to track down the actual license plate to something that did exist halfway across the country. And I think that was on the History Channel one that I watched.
Right.
I mean, most government license plates, they have like three little numbers and like 4 big things that you can see.
Right. But that was when he said the license plate, I was like, oh yeah, there was this odd little thing about license plates, So.
Well, the only other Men in Black thing I have is there was a weird picture that was, I think it was taken on April 13th, 2014.
Uh-huh.
or maybe that's when the article was posted, but it'll be in the description with all my other sources and everything. So if anyone wants to go look through all of my sources, they can find this picture. But it looks like two men who appear to be men in black, and they're standing outside in New Orleans, apparently. But it looks like a couple of teenagers kind of cosplaying.
Okay.
It doesn't look sinister. It looks like younger kids being silly.
Right.
To be silly.
Is there no backstory behind it or anything like that?
Well, there probably was. I was kind of pinched for time and didn't read the article. I just saw that picture, so.
Right.
Anyways, there's that. So there's other pictures, and there's claims to be pictures of Men in Black. So I guess it's really
the only two that I like that really seem to have a little bit more credibility are the hotel one,
right,
with the video, and the one of the profile with the guy kind of standing in the doorway across the street.
Right.
Anything else I'd look at just really kind of looks forced or faked.
I just feel like, we've been going through them each one, and like, what do you have to gain is the main question.
Right.
Like I said. And I feel like the hotel one, I don't feel like he's gained anything.
No, not really.
Aykroyd, I mean, he's into that kind of stuff, so could it just be trying to add credibility to him? I mean, I wouldn't think that he would stoop that low. I mean, I don't know him personally or anything.
Doesn't really have much to gain. He already has it all.
Right, yeah, like...
But you also have to consider, he's still an actor. You know what I mean? Still, I guess maybe feeling if he can get his chops out there as far as, storytelling
his chops are
goes.
out there.
Well, I know, but I'm saying, when it comes to actors saying things about stuff that's happened, I sit back and with a very skeptical eye. And it doesn't matter who it is, because again, they're an actor. They've spent their life being fake. What's to say?
Even if you're an actor that I love.
Right. There's plenty of actors out there that I love that sit back and...
You have a good point. I think Toby's getting caught up in his emotions, thinking...
Hey. I need y'all to both... Just, let's get off that Akroyd.
I'm not saying he's trying to dupe anyone, but at the same time, I'm very leery.
You can't handle the truth.
You're letting his good looks interfere, Toby.
Right.
Calm down.
Right. Calm down with your pandering to the Skull vodka.
Please sponsor us. What?
So, you're a horrible human being.
I'm gonna put those in backwards so they're subliminal.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. Along with me saying fluoride.
Ooh, we haven't had a fluoride reference in a while.
No, I figured I'd drop one in there.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Brush your teeth like good little boys and girls.
So, like, you're big fluoride, I'm
you're
reptilian, and you just want to give Dan Aykroyd a handy.
Handy, yeah. Yep.
Handy for some of that vodka.
So, for the evidence that I've laid down, and evidence from previous episodes of Men in Black, whether it be Mothman or what else has had a weird Men in Black-ish vibe.
Typically, it's UFO. UFO sightings seem to be the big one.
Yeah, but, I mean, was there anything weird about Philadelphia experiment? I mean, I guess...
Not that I can recall.
There was so much government involved with that.
Yeah, there was a lot of... I'm trying to think if there's been anything else that we've covered that had some questionable men asking questionable questions in questionable suits.
I really don't know.
Well, I mean, so let's just say for what we do know about the Men in Black, do you think that there are Men in Black out there? I mean, obviously, hold on. There are Men in Black out there because people do wear suits on a regular basis.
Right.
Do you think there's this creepy secret something or another men out there, whether it's
like a clandestine group threatening people to shut up?
Do you think this thing is true?
I want to say yes. I would like to believe that the Men in Black exist.
So you're saying you want to believe?
I want to believe they do.
So,
but until I have one coming up to my doorstep and going, okay, look, shut up.
Well, okay, let me. If you do want to believe in them, which are they
do they work for our government and they're just humans that are odd? Are they aliens working with the government? Are they aliens just working for themselves? Are they... What do you think?
What if it's a combo? What if it's like an interspecies collaboration between humans and aliens? Okay. Not to steal from the movie plot or anything, but what if?
Right.
I mean, you have stories of them looking normal, but just kind of pasty or kind of odd. But then you have the really bizarre stories where they don't look human at all.
Right.
You know, they look human, but something's definitely off about them.
Right.
So I don't know. I really don't know what to make of the stories and what to believe.
Time travelers.
Time travelers?
Yep. They go back in time, try to cover it all up.
You know what? That's, to be honest, that's not a terrible theory.
That's why they outgrew their use of hair.
Right.
So you're just taking from Fringe, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, what he was describing,
right,
looked just like those guys.
But that's really not a bad theory that we didn't bring up. And that's why I was kind of like, oh, I didn't bring that up at all.
Time travelers.
Yeah, why not? No, I mean...
But why would they need to come back in time and say, shut up? Is it something too early?
Because, we keep finding out too early. So they have to go back and fix it.
But then wouldn't them coming back screw up the timeline?
It was already screwed up. They're trying to
put... But how do we know if it's screwed up if it hasn't been screwed up yet?
They would know.
They would know. They're from the future.
But they wouldn't go back to the same... They wouldn't go back to the repaired future, though.
Time travel hurts my head. Just as bad as the Mandela effect hurts my head.
Yeah, if you changed the past, you wouldn't go back to the same past or the same future you came from.
Go back and listen to our time travel episode. I tried my damnedest to explain the different types of time travel.
Uh-huh.
And I get so fucking confused. And I know I sound like a dipshit in that episode. We need to redo the time travel episode one day, though. Because I think you'd be fun to talk to about it. Because... there's so many different paradoxes and making new timelines and making alternate realities and my head hurts already.
Time travel could be so much fun to do as far as an episode goes because it would confuse the shit out of everyone. We would make it confusing for the sake of confusing people. I would anyway.
Yes, but on this though, I mean. I would like the Men in Black to be real. Not because I want to be threatened, but just so there's something out there.
Right.
And I don't know. I'd love to have a Men in Black encounter, like a
legit.
Oh, man. That'd be cool. And I don't want to see, I don't need aliens. I just want a Men in Black to come up and be like, you're getting too close. And that's it. Just say that and keep walking, and I'll be like, was that to me, or... guy next to me. Right. I think that would be cool. Just weird little messages like that. Stop doing what you're doing.
Right.
Quit the podcast.
Hey, next time we do an After Dark, I got a nice little UFO story that I've been meaning to tell you guys that happened on Halloween.
Did the Men in Black come and get you?
No.
They will now after this goes online.
Right.
Holy shit, that's the alarm. Rudy, will you check the monitor and see what's going on outside?
Yeah, hold on a second. Hold on. Dude, there's a couple guys out there. They're wearing black suits and fedoras.
I think we need to wipe the hard drives.
Yeah, so they don't get our secrets or anything. Everything, all our research.
No, I was talking about my browser history.
Guys, grab anything that you can that's not bolted down. We've got to get out of here.
All right, guys, I'm going to hit the emergency broadcast beacon before we leave. We good?
Yeah, let's get out of here. Hurry.
Quick, guys. Out the emergency hatch.
F 53 20 54 48
45, 20, 53, 45, 43, 52, 45, 54, 20, 54, 52, 41, 4E, 53, 4D, 49, 53, 53, 49, 4F, 4E, 20, 50, 4F, 44, 43, 41, 53, 54, 20, 49, 53, 20, 49, 4E, 20, 44, 41, 4E, 47, 45, 52, 20, 57, 45, 20, 41, 52, 45, 20, 53, 45, 4E, 44, 49, 4E, 47, 20, 54, 48, 49, 53, 20, 4D, 45, 53, 53, 41, 47, 45, 20, 4F, 55, 54, 20, 46, 4F, 52, 20, 4F, 55, 52, 20, 46, 52, 49, 45, 4E, 44, 53, 20, 54, 4F, 20, 48, 45, 4C, 50.